one of the problems that were pointed out this morning was the, let's say, lack of a clear mandate about who has to do what in case of shortages due to quality. Indeed, legally, there are, the responsibility mandate is spread across actors. The directive, the code for medicinal products for human use, places on market authorization holders, on wholesale distributors, and on manufacturers the responsibility to ensure that the supply of authorized medicines of appropriate quality. However, this is not always easy to implement, also due to the different way this norm is transposed into the different national legislations. The responsibility for enforcing the legislation in case of shortages lays with the competent authorities. The Commission and the medicine agencies are, of course, facilitators and act as a point of contact, facilitate dialogue. And as you saw, the agency started this also with, started a process of reflection on how to make this process more efficient. On this, the Commission, on the other side, put together a document summarizing the legal tools which are present in the legislation and that could be used in case of shortages to facilitate and alleviate the situation. So I will go through some of these tools which are available. The first one, all these are citations from the Directive 2001/83, so the code. Article 81 on continuous production, I already mentioned, pretty much says that market authorization holders and wholesalers have an obligation to guarantee supply, ensure supply, and production and distribution cannot be stopped without a valid reason. This norm has been notoriously difficult to implement at national level. Article 126A, it's a very good article which allows smaller markets to use medicines, to place on the market medicines which have not been authorized in their country, but if this medicine have been already authorized in another member state. Article 5.1 allows for very ad hoc and in a very exceptional circumstances the possibility of administering certain medicines to patients under, to fulfill special needs and for use by an individual patient under his direct personal responsibilities. This has not really been implemented very often, but it is possible. A very important article that I think it also goes along with what Richard Beckstrom mentioned before, is that market authorization holders who cease production, decide to stop production, have to communicate to competent authorities all data relating to the volume of sales and the volume of prescriptions, so to give advance notice of potential shortages. Oops, sorry. Article 63.3 allows, in case of shortages, to facilitate the placing on the market of alternative medicines by waiving some of the labeling requirements, particularly those concerning language, the language of the informative leaflet. Article 31, and this is a very important article, allows for member state driven modification of market authorization for medicines. This works on, this particular article is for the decentralized mutual recognition procedure, but there is a similar provision in Regulation 2726 2004 for centrally authorized products. So member state can trigger variations. Well, if we can call them variations, since they are triggered by a member state and not by the market authorization holder. So on the basis of this legal framework, the Commission put down a set of best practices in order to, somehow help guide competent authorities on how to react in case of shortage. So the first one is in case, when the competent authorities are notified of the interruption of production, they should ask the market authorization holder for an estimation of time or the timing of the shortage. I know it's difficult. I heard this before, but let's say any indication would be helpful, and also indication for potential alternative sources. The competent authorities could also identify alternative manufacturers of the same product, and then, of course, somehow help speeding up the variation that this would require. Identify alternative if no alternative for the same product are present, then you can also identify alternative medicinal products or treatments which are, bring to the same effect. Either in the EU or in third countries. The procedure are a little bit more complicated, but this is another possibility. Another possibility would be to discuss with the market authorization holder whether the stability data allow the increase of shelf life and the relabeling of the shelf life for existing batches. This, of course, has to be assessed on a case-by-case basis, but that would be a possibility. And of course, then there's still the need for speeding up the variation of the market authorization. If the market authorization holder has more than one plant in more than one member state, another possibility would be to reallocate and repackage from neighboring countries. Very, very important, it's a dialogue with the healthcare professionals. This is one of the key elements that competent authorities can enforce. The information should, include the use of alternative treatments, the switching to other available pharmaceutical forms of the same product, the possibility of introducing a temporary dose reduction, the restriction of the use of the product to specific, to the patients that need it most, pretty much, so pragmatic approach, and the rationalization of prescription based on the above. Also it is very important to activate the appropriate communication channel early enough and proactively, particularly the EU Regulatory Network Incident Management Plan here at EMA and the CMDH. To use their existing rapid alert notification systems to notify, of course, of the defects. This should also be used to inform without delay of the other competent authorities about the results of GMP inspections and re-inspections. Ideally, communication should also include information on a realistic time frame for resumption of supply. And we should not forget, of course, to communicate our international partners that could be affected by the issues leading to the shortage, for example, the US, Canada. It is also important to ensure complementarity between the communication, going to the EU and more detailed communication at national level. It is important to update the web, to update the information, to keep the information available to easily accessible. So, for example, through our website, and keep it updated in order for healthcare professionals to be informed about what's going on and when things may become normal again. And national competent authorities should consider the need to communicate it to the general public, whether it's the case or not, as this can sometimes cause alarmistic behavior, such as stockpiling, which would then worsen the shortage. But this is a decision that needs to be made on a case-by-case basis. And I think that's it. Thank you. If you have any question, I'm here.